speaker is Dr. Ashari Peswando. Dr. Ashari Peswando M. Home is an English lecturer at Potensi Utama University. She has been teaching English for 25 years. And as an English lecturer, his focus is academic trajectory highlights a deliberate and focused knowledge and skill in the field of English applied linguistics. He has a professional experience as the Dean of Faculty of Social Science and Education from 2014 until right now. I would like to introduce his educational background. He has graduated his bachelor degree from State University of Medan at 2003, his master degree at State University of Medan at 2013, and his doctoral degree at State University of Medan at 2025. His presenter experience is the third National Seminar on Language Education and Technology or NACOLET at University of Muhammadiyah Cirebon in 2023 and presenter at 69 Chaplin International Conference at University Shah Kuala Banda Aceh in 2023 and also presenter at International Conference on Social Politik Administration and Communication Study at University of General Ahmad Yani Bandung in 2022. He has an award too in International Education Faculty Achievement from the International Association of University President. And now he has also an organization experience as a chairman of Sumatra region of the Communication Forum of Dean and Chairs of the College and Social and Politics Science, head of election of monitoring for the North Sumatra governor election, and chief editorial board for Medium for English language teaching. Now we hear the presentation from the first keynote speaker, Dr. Ashari Peswando M. Home. For Dr. Ashari Peswando M. Home, time and screen is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dina, for the introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and peace be unto you, Magandang Umagapo, ya. Welcome to the international webinar of the MMSU and University of Potensi Utama. Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you very much, for MMSU, Mariano Marcos State University, for having collaboration with our university. And then today we are implementing, the realization of the cooperation in the form of international webinar. Yeah, actually, this webinar should have been done 2 weeks ago, but because of the unexpected, question, okay, but because of the unexpected disaster that happened in the Philippines 2 weeks ago, so we have to postpone, this event until right now. So I hope that everything was okay, and hopefully that will not happen again to any of us. And I believe that there is nothing that we can do to prevent it. The thing that we can do is only to anticipate it. Okay, actually the topic that I'm going to discuss later on is related to the anticipation that we do because it's related to the eco-literacy. Okay, but before I would like to tell a little bit about our campus, University of Potensi Utama. So our campus is located in Medan, North Sumatra Province, Indonesia. So Medan is the third largest city, in Indonesia. And right now we have currently 4,000 students study at our campus. And then we have 6 faculties and 14 study programs. The name of our faculty is Faculty of Social Science and Education. And we have 2 majors to study program. The first is the English education, and the other one is the international relation. So I belong to the English education study program lecturer. Okay, and then the topic that we chose for today is about English language teaching practices and implementation in higher education. So the theme was chosen with the purpose to give insight and also perspective, for our prospective teacher, our student, because most of the audiences are from the Faculty of Education. Yeah, I hope that you can learn something, you can learn from our experience. Okay, now let's jump right into my topic. Let me share the screen now. Okay. This is the topic that I'm going to talk about. So it's about how to integrate the eco-literacy into the English language teaching classroom. Yeah. Okay, you can also find me. I also enclose that my email address if there is something that you want to discuss. Yeah. So eco-literacy. Yeah. I believe that most of my students are familiar, yeah, with the terms literacy. So eco-literacy or ecological literacy, it derives from two words, ecology and literacy. So what is meant by literacy? I think most of the students have no idea the meaning of literacy, yeah? Because every time we have an event, we usually take picture together. We usually have a formal pose here. Okay, we also have the free pose like make a sarangyo like this, right? Okay, and then we also do some literacy pose. Okay, we use this one. We use our two fingers to make an L symbol. Okay, that is the literacy. So our government, Indonesian government, has already promoted the Gerakan Literasi Nasional or National Literacy programs in 2016 uh, to improve the literacy in condition in Indonesia. Yeah. Okay, previously we have the movement or the program of illiteracy eradication. And then we also have the 9 years compulsory studies and also 13 compulsory studies, 1 year in early education, and then 12 years in primary and secondary education. So that program is meant to improve, yeah, the literacy condition in Indonesia. So what is meant by literacy actually? So if you look up from dictionary, I think most of the online dictionary will provide this definition. Yeah? So literacy is the ability to read and to write. Okay, so it's very simple. It seems simple and it seems narrow, right? Okay, but not actually, because last time in the former time, okay, the ability to read and to write is very exclusive. It can only possessed by someone with medium to high economy background, for rich people, for wealthy people. Yeah. Okay, so it's not easy to be able to read and to write. In European countries and American in 1800, in Indonesia in 1900s. Okay. Okay. Now if we take a look at the more expanded definition of literacy, so literacy also meant knowledge or capability in particular field. Okay, so I think you have ever heard the word digital literacy or financial literacy or law literacy. Okay, so digital literacy means somebody who is literate, somebody who has the knowledge to manage his finance. Okay, so they will have a freedom of financial, for example. Okay, digital literacy, somebody who is who understand also can make use of the digital technology and so on. Yeah. So in Bahasa Indonesia, I think what is meant by literacy or literate is sadar or melek or paham gitu ya. So digital literacy means somebody who melek digital. Okay, okay, something like that. That's the definition of literacy. Okay, so based on that, we can also conclude that literacy is the ability to understand, make decision, act with respect to complex topic and issues facing society today. Okay, and then this is the definition of literacy provided by UNESCO, United Nations Education, Science and Cultural Organization. Literacy involves continuum of learning to develop their knowledge and potential to participate fully in their community and wider society. Okay, do you have now understand about the meaning of literacy? Okay, I hope so. Okay, now what is meant by ecoliteracy? Okay, previously I just mentioned that ecoliteracy is from two words, ecological or ecology, yeah, literacy. So this man over here, this is the founder of the ecoliteracy. His name is Fridtjof Capra. He's an Austrian. He lives in USA. Philosophers and also physicists. He wrote many books. And then is also the founder of the Ecoliteracy Center in the USA, University of Berkeley. Okay, so he defined that ecoliteracy is a person awareness and ability to understand the ecological environment and then to apply that ecological principles in everyday life to support sustainable development. Okay, so Frijab Chatra has underlined three things of the principle of ecoliteracy. The first one is awareness about the importance of the uh, environment. Okay, and then ecological knowledge. And then the third one is the application to support the sustainable living. Okay, now I believe that you are going to be familiar with the picture that I'm going to share. Are you familiar, student of mine, student from Campus University of Potensi Utama? This is what happened to our surrounding, our neighborhood campus, yeah, last year in November 2024. There was heavy rains with high intensity, and then the drainage system, yeah, cannot handle or tackle the amount of the water, and then it was worsened because of the ditch and also the river that will flow the water into the river is clogged because of too many garbage. So that what's happened. So we had a very bad flood last time in 2024. Okay, you know what happened? It's because we didn't apply the principle of ecoliteracy. This is the river that is not so far from our campus, right? You walk across the street 300 from that, you can see a Jembatan Panitra, and then you can see the Delhi River there. Okay, Delhi River cannot handle all the water, so it over flooded the mainland, you know. One of them is because of the plastic or the garbage. You can see this one. The Delhi River was polluted because of the microplastic. You know, one of the example of the microplastic? This one. Anybody can guess what this is? Okay, this morning you take a bath, you wash your hair by using this one, right? Ini bukan endorse ya. Okay. Okay, this is what we did last time. Okay, we mobilized and then we collect some donation. We distributed the donation to some people who are impacted. Yeah, but I think prevention is better than the cure. Okay. Yes, this is the key concept of the ecoliteracy to anticipate what will come. Okay. The first one is the environmental awareness. Okay, so we must have the awareness here. Okay, yeah, so we must know how to human interact and also the implication. Okay, this is only very simple things, you know, microplastic, the sachet of the shampoo. Okay, so if you throw it carelessly, you don't put it into the garbage waste or garbage basket, I think it will pollute uh, the ditch and then it will be clogged and it will worse the flood. So that is you must have the awareness. Okay, and then the second one is the ecological knowledge. Okay, let's say for example the natural cycles. Do you know we cannot overthrow this sachet of plastic carelessly because plastic is very difficult to decompose. Okay, so have you ever seen the advertisement where the living creature in the ocean, like a turtle, they ate a straw and then they died because of they cannot digest that one. So that is the ecological awareness and also the natural cycles, the ecological knowledge that you have to know. Okay, and then this is the most important one. So you must have the responsibility and take action of what you do. Okay, yeah? So it's not only just a theory. So you can start by anybody can read this. Yeah, 3R. Okay, what is the first R? Okay, the first R is reduce. Okay, for example, if you go shopping into the supermarket, okay, it's better you bring this. Can everybody see this? Yeah, okay. You bring your bag, your tote bag instead of the plastic. It will reduce the amount of the plastic. Okay, instead of buying the sachet, you should buy the bottle or the largest package of the shampoo Or instead of using tissue, you can reduce by using, you can bring this one, the towel, okay, or the handkerchief, or instead of, oh ini banyak endorsan ya kayaknya ya. Okay, ya. Instead of buying this pop me, okay, a package of food, better you eat the natural food, okay. Okay, so that is the first R. And then the second one is reuse. Okay, you can also use the bottle, for example, to be the flower pots. Okay. Okay, and then the other example, yeah. Okay, and then the last one is the recycle. Okay, later I'm going to show you what we did to recycle some waste to be useful things. Okay. Okay, now this is the goals, yeah, the goals, of course, we will respect the environment, okay, because we don't want to make our Mother Nature angry, okay? You know what happened in Bukit Lawang in 2003? There was a big flood, air bah. Oh, air bah. Orang Batak nih, air bah. Okay, because we don't respect our nature, okay? We cut off, do some illegal logging, and then there was a very big flood that destroy everything. Okay, and then the second one is to support sustainable living. Okay, so we just want to maintain everything that what we have now. Okay, for example, now we have a very beautiful ocean in Sabang. Okay, we have to preserve that so our future children can still enjoy that. Okay, okay, and then creating an environmental conscious. Okay, okay, so tadi three R ini three S ya, but this is the Indonesian abbreviation. Okay.
Disuruh buka Zoom ya enggak?
Okay, the first is S1. Yeah, you can start from something sederhana, something small. Okay. Okay, the thing that I just mentioned right now is something small, yeah. But something small, when it is done collectively and together, is going to be something big. Okay, today we have 300 people joining us in this forum, right? So you can be the representative, you can be the ambassador of the eco-literacy. So you can influence other people not to do something that will destroy our environment. Okay. As yang kedua, you can start from diri sendiri, from yourself. And as yang ketiga, you can start from sekarang, or you can start it from now. Will you agree with me? Nobody answer.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Now
Agree,
we go to
sir.
the next slide. It's hang. Why cannot, why cannot, can I not move to another slide? Sorry. Oh yeah. Okay, so how do we integrate this eco-literacy into our ELT? Okay, actually, that principle can be embedded, it can be integrated to our English language teaching by embedded in these three things here. Okay, okay. I'm sorry, this is still in Bahasa Indonesia, yeah. Okay, the first one is approach. Okay, yeah, so approach is the theory of language and also the theory of language learning. And then method, the method is the procedure or the realization of the approach. And then the technique, yeah, that is the practical in the class, okay, the specific things that we do in the class. So we can embedded this eco-literacy principle, whether in the approach, in the method, or in the technique. Yeah. Okay. For example, like in the approach, if you want to focus or aim at improving the communication, so communicative language teaching, right? Okay. And then the method is direct method. Okay. So everything is the instruction is should be done in English. Okay. And then the technique is the role playing technique. Okay. That is one of the example of the approach, method, and technique. Yeah. Okay. For example, like the other approach. Okay. If you want to focus on the cooperation, you can use the cooperative learning approach. Or if you want to focus on the solving problem-based learning. But now I'm going to introduce you to one of the other approach in language teaching and learning, which is called place-based learning or place-based education. Okay, so place-based education is the form of learning which focus on the student, yes, student center. It heavily focuses on the community. So the community becomes the classroom, and the student learn more about the local issues, and they learn from local experts. Okay, and then place-based learning, yeah, I think it's related to the contextual teaching and learning because it's one of the aspect in place-based learning. So it's contextual. So the English is taught in real and contextual context, not just in the classroom. In the classroom, they are going to get bored. Okay, and then community engagement. The student interact with environment and they use English in real situation, and then experiential learning. So a student will get a meaningful experience. Okay, and then these are some benefit there of implementing place-based learning to our student. It will increase their motivation, of course, because sometimes I can see that my student are feeling bored. Yeah, only the same thing all the time in the classroom, talking about the theory. So they need to go to the real situation, to the community. Okay, and then I'm sorry to strengthen the critical thinking. Of course, when they go to the community, they will observe, they will see directly what happened in the community. Is there anything that need to be solved? So they will use their thinking skills. Okay, and improve their communication skill. Of course, they will interact with them, especially students from English education. They will practice how to teach English, and then enhance collaboration. Of course, most of the things that we do is the collaboration. Okay, they have to work in the group and then they have to then their roles. Okay, and then the last one is the cultural understanding. So we meet culture people, we also learn a local culture. Okay, this is the thing that we can do while doing the PBL, place-based learning. We can create a travel vlog, designing a promotional tourism poster, conducting interview, blogging, or creating an interactive map. Okay, I'm going to show you the real example what we did when we implemented the place-based learning. Okay, this is I brought the student from two of my study program, English education and the international relation, to the place which is called Mangrove Ecotourism Area in Sicanang, Belawan. Yeah? So for your information, our campus is not so far from the ocean. It only takes uh, 30 minutes here from our campus to the port. Okay, and then there are many conservation area of the mangrove. And then there in Sichanang, our government has declared that that area is the ecotourism area, okay? So they have to be ready for the tourists. Is it the inbound tourists or the outbound tourists from other countries? But the problem is when we get there, okay, the lecturer did some cultural, social responsibilities, and then the student practice teaching vocabulary because there was a language barriers. Most of the people, the student, they are not ready to welcome tourists. They don't know anything. They cannot explain things in English. So that's why the purpose is introduce them with some vocabularies related to some living creatures in the ecotourism areas. Okay, this is what we did here. We go to the local village. In the chief village, there is a room with many students. We gather the student there and then we teach them vocabulary, very simple vocabulary like this. Okay, by using a technique which is called a guessing game. Okay, let's play now. Okay, anybody knows? You can directly answer, yeah? Okay, can you guess the picture that I'm going to show you? I'm going to open the first box. Very simple, right? Anybody can guess what this is? Nobody.
Mangrove, sir.
Okay, thank you for the response. Yes, this is mangrove. Okay, but is the English word? Local people they do not know that this plant is called mangrove, right? What do they call? Yes, this is what they call. Okay, in Bahasa Indonesia we call it bakau or bakpo, yeah. Okay, in local language they call it tancang. And then the scientific name for that is Brugia spp, yeah. Okay, that's the scientific name. Okay, beside we teach them something, but we also learn something back. Okay, we never know that that English, okay, that word has local name, right? Okay, the next picture. Please respond. Anybody can guess? I will give you this
Mudfish.
one.
Mudfish.
What is it?
Mudfish, sir.
Mudfish. Okay, thank you very much. What's that? Okay, okay, okay. Yes. Okay, actually, the English word for this fish is called mudskipper. Okay, Miss Risa said mudskipper. Mudskipper. Okay, it's a British accent, right? Oh, okay, mudskipper. Okay, so actually, we also learned something. Yeah, people call it glodok, ya, ikan glodok in common name, and then the local name is called tembakul. Okay, and then the scientific name is Pyriophthalmus sp. Okay, last one. Anybody can guess this? Is it you? Okay, it's getting clearer now. Anybody can guess?
Monkey.
What?
Monkey.
Oh, it's me at the back. Do I look handsome, everybody? Yeah.
Not sure.
Okay. Most people will say this monkey, right? Okay, actually, there is a more appropriate term to name this type of monkey. Okay, yeah, it's called long-tail macaque. Long-tail macaque. Okay, in bahasa Indonesia, it's called monyet ekor panjang because it has long tail, and then the scientific name is Macaca fascicularis. Okay, yeah, that's a very simple things to do. Only teaching the local people some. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, then this is the other thing that we also do, but this is the international relations study programs here, because we need to do some action and also responsibility. We do some mangrove planting, yeah. Okay, because it was in 22nd of April 2000, what? Okay, it was the Earth Day. Okay, so we have to participate actively. So in international relation, we have the green diplomacy. Green diplomacy is the theory in hubungan in international relation which balance the nation interest or the person interest with the sustainable living. So we need to talk about we need to do something by mangrove planting. And then in that area, we also accompanied by people from non-government organization, Yayasan Gajah Sumatra, in which they also brought their representative, two beautiful women from France. Okay, so beside improving ecological knowledge, we can also interact and do diplomacy with these two people. Okay, and then a student also learn some French words and French culture. For example, comment allez-vous? Ça va bien, merci. Macaron ou poisson? Nasi goreng or lemper? Okay, something like that. Okay. Okay, and then we also visit the West Bank. It's very useful to increase the people's economy. Yeah? Okay, and then this is what I did last. What I talked about previously about the recycle thing. We have a lecturer from Faculty of Art and Design who can recycle the tea waste, okay, dregs, ya, ampas teh, ya, become a very work of art, very beautiful paintings. These are some general counsel who visited our campus. This is Mr. Irwansa, the general counsel of Timor-Leste. This is Takanai Susumu from Japanese consulate. This is from Malaysian consulate, and this is from the Indian consulate, Mr. Subham Singh. So these paintings are made of the tea waste. You can imagine, recycle. Okay, and then this is one of my students from the international relation. She can recycle the organic sea cells, yeah, become a very beautiful souvenirs. Then yes, very good. So that's conclude what I present. So the integration of the equiliteracy, not only to improve student language proficiency, but also to cultivate the awareness and the importance of environmental preservation. So through PBL approach, students are encouraged to become more conscious and actively contribute to environmental sustainability. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you. Terima kasih. Maraming salamat po. Assalamualaikum. Go back to the moderator.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for the first keynote speaker, Dr. Ashari Peswondo, for your inspiring presentation. I just want to remind for all the participants to make or to give your question if you want to have or to give your question to our keynote speaker. You can chat in your chat box column. Yeah. Okay. Your presentation about equiliteracy, integrating equiliteracy into English language teaching or ALT classroom can offer a powerful and meaningful way to connect language learning with real-world situation by embedding environmental themes and sustainability topic into language instruction. We as an educators can enhance learner critical thinking, global awareness, and sense of responsibility toward the planet, simultaneously developing linguistic skill. Equiliteracy in ALT will improve students to use language as a tool for advocacy, reflection, and change, making language learning both purposeful and impactful in today's world. Okay, now let's